Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing? I'm Paid to Be Famous, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the exotic scout rifle called the Skyburner's Oath. It recently got a buff, so we're going to be taking a look at exactly what they did to it and if it's any good. But if you guys are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And without any more delay,
listen to this track. Nobody pray for me. You been out there for me.
Alright, before we get started, I want to throw a quick shout out to this Guardian right here. They had this to say to me the other day, and I gotta say, those vibes, really positive. That attitude, really positive. And that KD, really positive too. Alright, how do you get your hands on this Skyburner's Oath? The only way you're gonna get this is by turning in exotic engrams. There's no quest line or no activity that you can do that can get you a guaranteed drop on this. You just gotta decrypt engrams and hope you get it. Alright, now let's take a look at these perks. The exotic intrinsic perk, Slug Rifle. This weapon lobs large explosive seeking slugs when you're firing from the hip. When you're aiming down sights, the slugs travel faster and straight with higher damage and lower rate of fire. It also comes with extended barrel, extended mag, and short action stock. And the other exotic trait perk is For the Empire. This weapon is full auto, does extra damage to Cabal, and penetrates Phalanx shields. Alright, now let's look at the stats. This weapon fires at 200 rounds per minute, has an impact of 60, range 46, stability 55, magazine 15, reload speed 55, handling 64, aim assistance of 90, and a recoil direction of 100. How does this scout rifle do in PvE activities? It actually does decent damage when you're firing from the hip, and enemies don't move around too much and you can kind of predict them more in PvE. So those tracking shots when you're firing from the hip are a lot easier to hit, and it actually is pretty fun to use in PvE activities. Especially when you're doing any missions where there's a lot of Cabal. You got those big annoying guys with their shields. You use this scout rifle and you're going to over penetrate those shields and take down those enemies a lot faster. But one of the cons I found in PvE is I was running out of ammo a lot. Maybe that was just my RNG with the energy ammo bonds, but I found that I kept running out of ammo, and that is no bueno. Well, this thing has some pros and it has some cons in the Crucible. Let's go over some of the pros. This thing does do what it says it does, which is track enemies. And this scout rifle will actually get you kills around corners. It actually has quite a bit of tracking, but it's not a real strong tracking. If you're firing this thing in an enemy's direction, they see it coming, all they gotta do is run to one way or the other, and the tracking isn't that strong. It's not gonna seek them out. This scout rifle, I was finding more success just hanging back and helping out the team and getting down the enemy shields before we actually start the engagement. That's how I found the most success with this in the Crucible. This is a scout rifle, so it has a lot of range. So if you see people on your radar and you know you're over there, I would just fire off some shots in that direction. And most of the time, I would tag a few of those shots, so I would go into that engagement and they would already be missing some of their shields, if not all of their shields. And it would be an easy cleanup kill for me. Now let's get to some of the cons with this weapon in PvP. Now if you guys are going up against competent Guardians, people who know what they're doing, like I said earlier with the tracking, it's not a strong tracking. So if they see you coming, they know what you're doing, they hear those shots coming off, all they gotta do is start running and dodging, and they'll probably avoid most of them. So keep in mind, Guardians, yes, they did buff this and make it tracking projectiles, but the tracking is not that good in PvP, but it is halfway decent in PvE. Keep that in mind. Now let's get into the aim down sights part where you do more damage and fire slower. Now I kind of think when you aim down sights it's a little bit too slow. I would get into gunfights with things like the Vigilance Wing and the Graviton Lance, and by the time I barely got off my second shot, they were already getting done with their third shot, which would be putting me down, and that is a really And that is a really, really big negative on this gun for me in PvP when it comes to PvP. It fires too slow when you're aiming down sights, and I was getting outgunned by lances and chicken wings and anti-oak Ds. It was not cool. And one more thing to note on the tracking projectiles, the damage numbers are very, very inconsistent. I mean, I was getting 8 and 9 hit point damage, 14, 15, 24. Like, it was very, very inconsistent, and that is no bueno. So guys, the question still remains, should you guys be using this weapon in your exotic slot? You know what, this weapon was pretty darn fun in PvE activities, just running, jumping in the air, hip firing everything, putting down enemies. It was pretty fun. Would I take this into PvP competitively or even in quick play? You know what, if I want to have fun in quick play, yeah, I'd take this in, but if I was like wanting to get some wins, get my rank up and stuff, I definitely would not use this. I was getting outgunned by a lot of things. So there you guys go. Those are just my thoughts, my opinions. It's up to you Guardians to take this into the Crucible and see if this gun is for you. I'm paid to be famous, and I will catch you guys around the channel. Peace.